we are talking about how to remove seized fasteners. So if you've ever had rusty bolts and nuts and screws that you can't get out or can't loosen, this video is going to cover some tips and tricks on how to hopefully get them to break loose for you. So the first step is to remove all of the paint and rust, or as much as you reasonably can. There's several different tools to do this. You can use a stiff wire brush, or you can use a wire brush attachment for your drill. That's an important step. That'll make it easier for the future steps. And if you ever try to put a wrench on a nut or a bolt that's coated with really thick paint, that can be problematic. So step 2 obviously would be to reach for a can of penetrating oil. There's many different brands. There's standard WD-40, but WD-40 also makes a special penetrating oil. Personally, on the left side there you see Croil. That's what I've used. I've had some luck with that. On the far right there's a freeze-off super penetrant. I haven't had much luck with those. Some people have. But with penetrating oils, the main key is to spray it on there and then let it sit for a good amount of time. Usually the instructions on the can will tell you how long you want to let it sit for. And if that doesn't work, or after you've let the oil sit for a while, step 3 would be to use some leverage, like a cheater pipe on the end of your ratchet or your wrench, or even an impact gun. Want to make sure you're trying to loosen the nut or bolt in the correct direction. Remember, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. I myself have made that mistake where you think, man, why is this not coming loose? And you might be turning your wrench the wrong way. So don't make that mistake. Step 4. So if you tried leverage, you tried penetrating oil, that didn't work, try using heat. So whether you use a small torch or an oxyacetylene torch, you want to heat it up real good, and sometimes that heat will cause that rust on that seized fastener to finally allow you to be able to break it loose with your wrench. Obviously be careful here, you don't want to burn yourself. And if that doesn't work, finally you might just need to cut it off, depending on your specific situation. And if you can get in there to cut it off, there's different tools to cut off broken and rusted on nuts and bolts and screws. On the far left there's a pair of big bolt cutters. That's really for smaller nuts and bolts and screws. In the middle there's a electric grinder with a cutoff wheel attachment you can get for those. And then on the far right there's a hydraulic nut splitter, and as you can see in the picture, it basically cracks and splits the nut open. So sometimes that can work well if you're trying to save the stud or the bolt that it's attached to. And depending on your circumstance, after you cut off your nut or bolt, you might even have to drill it out, retap it, etc. So just keep that in mind. And always wear PPE. I hope this helps. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment for future video topics you would like me to cover.